Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Catching Up with Cope podcast. Cope is the Coalition of Parents in Esports, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides programs and scholarships to empower youth, parents, and educators to utilize gaming to build confidence, curiosity, community, and careers. I'm your host, Friday, and today I am here with Brinx. Brinx, thank you so much for being here. Please take a second to introduce yourself and what you do in this space before we kind of jump on into it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brinx. I'm a 25-year-old Valorant YouTuber and streamer, but my main thing is crafting YouTube videos on Valorant.
Yeah, awesome. I'm a huge fan of Valorant. That's always like my go-to esport when I'm talking to people. So I love it. To kind of just jump in, like when did you sort of get into content creation? Was gaming something that sort of led you to start creating content, or was that, was watching like YouTubers the start for your journey?
For me, it was the New York Phase House in like 2015, 2016. I
Yeah.
think it was the day after my 16th birthday. I got an Elgato Game Capture HD, and
Love.
that's when I started my channel. Like if you go back, my birthday is June 16th, and you can go to my channel and it says it was created on June 17th. So that's when
Right
I started
away.
making like Call of Duty cut comms, and I did that for a while, and I used like iMovie and all that. And over time, I kind of shifted. Like Fortnite came out, everybody
Mm,
switched to Fortnite in like 2017,
yeah.
and I did that for a while. Didn't I saw a little success. I started streaming a year after Fortnite came out, and that's when I started to like juggle the two.
Mm,
And then Valorant came out in
yeah.
2020, and here we
So,
are.
and here we are. So, kind of going off of what you had just said about sort of going from Call of Duty like into Fortnite. Do you do you feel like it was easy to sort of make those switches, or did you find yourself like wanting to put out that content because you enjoyed the games, or did you feel like, oh, this is what's big right now, this is what I need to be doing, or was it just sort of
Mhm.
like I like it, so I'm gonna make it?
I think at the time I had been doing Call of Duty stuff for, I guess, 2, 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't see a lot of success in it. I still really enjoyed playing the game, and I
Yeah.
still played it for a few years after Fortnite came out.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just so much hype and so much content to be made in
Yeah.
Fortnite since it was
Mm-hmm.
so new and there were so frequent updates
Yeah.
that and also back then I didn't know nearly as much as I do now about making YouTube videos, so
Yeah.
I could just churn them out a lot quicker, so I could do both at the
Yeah.
time. And that's how I kind of transitioned from Call of Duty to Fortnite.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And so, you know, you had said you talked about turning out videos for YouTube like constantly.
Hmm.
Do you feel like how much do you think this content creation space is like consistency and how much is like quality, quantity? Like what do you see? Like
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
you juggle that? And because when you're in the space for a certain amount of time, you kind of figure things out. You maybe go from iMovie to using another program that has, you know what I'm saying, that
Hmm.
works better for what you're trying to create. Like how do you see the consistency and the quality and quantity kind of change over time with the content you're making?
Well, I've thought about this a lot. I put out like a giant tweet about it one time, about quality versus quantity. So,
Mm,
in my opinion, and from my experience, when you're starting out, you kind of need to focus more on quantity.
hmm.
And like I said, just churn out the videos,
Yeah.
because if you can improve one little thing every time,
Mm,
in your first like 100 videos are not going to be good. You just gotta get
yeah.
them out and you'll learn. And then the difference you'll see, even from like the 50th video to your first video, is gonna be so significant. And I think once you get to a point where you kind of understand what does well on whatever
Hmm.
platform, like YouTube, for example, once you kind of understand that, then you can shift gears a little bit towards improving the quality once you know it works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that, and I think a lot of people will stress about quality so early on, and then
Hmm.
therefore they don't even end up putting out any
Yeah,
content
like
because they
it like paralyzes you.
yeah, no, like it's one of those things that can, really, make or break, what you do in this space because you just overthink. And that's it's that imposter syndrome that I think can sort of like, you know, get in your head like that. And I want to
Hmm.
ask, like, what inspired you to make the sort of content that you are making specifically? Like, I know you've made some Valorant content. You had a really good video go out about like Tens and his, like his road and his path and like
Hmm.
wasn't it like what was the video? It was
So I train like tens for
I
seven
train like
days.
Tens. Yeah, 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 yeah. Where you
Yeah.
like kind of modeled off of like what he does. What was like
Hmm.
the inspiration for that sort of content, and like where did that kind of come from?
Well, that was kind of like my entry point
Mm.
into the Valorant community.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had done Valorant content before that. I did
Yeah.
like meme montages, but
Okay.
they never
Love.
got like above like 400 views.
Yeah.
And I still liked them, but I saw at the time when I made that video, that was
Mm-hmm.
like almost exactly a year ago.
Mm.
Uh, I saw a lot of people were doing, I did this for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw in other niches on YouTube, like in the fitness niche, like I trained like Arnold Schwarzenegger
Interesting.
for 7 days. And, but nobody had
Yeah.
done that in Valorant. Like I trained like this specific person for 7 days. So
Mm.
that was what I used to kind of get my foot in the door.
Yeah. No, that's so interesting. I like people have like an eye for like trends like that. Like it's very clear that you saw that in other industries. Um, do you do you ever feel like pressure when it comes to looking for new trends or new content sort of to create around Valorant? Or is it very much just like you'll see something and be like, oh, I love this, I'm gonna do this. Otherwise, if you don't, then you're just
Hmm.
gonna keep doing what you do? Or do you feel like there's like an external pressure to try and like come up with the next viral video?
Yeah, there's a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I do like a lot of research on the ideas. So
Cool.
I have a notepad where I have like 50 to 100 ideas that I haven't done
Wow.
yet.
Yeah.
So not all of them are good videos, but they're
Mm-hmm.
ideas.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes an idea will sit there for weeks or months, and then I'll see another video on YouTube that I can kind of mesh together with that, and
Mm.
then that finally makes an idea that's worth making a video on.
Yeah. No, that's
So
awesome.
that's kind
And
of how I get my ideas.
yeah, and do you
Sorry.
like no, you're good. Do you like and then so after you kind of have your ideas, do you like outline and plan the video or do you just kind of like
Hmm.
freestyle it?
I always start with the title and the thumbnail, and I
Okay.
do that and finish the thumbnail, and I'll do like maybe two or three different versions of the thumbnail
Mhm.
before I hit record, because if they don't want to click on it, then they're not going to
Yeah.
watch it. So
Yeah.
I do that first, and then I write the intro, and I have like a very rough outline. Like
Mhm.
my videos, for those that don't know, are like me playing games in Valorant Ranked, and you never know how they're gonna go. So I can't like script it out exactly, but I can have
Yeah.
an idea
Mhm.
of what I want to do,
Yeah.
and then I'll record.
Yeah. Okay. I've never really thought like I guess like I understand that people have to like lay out like all the concepts for their videos and things like that, but when it is something that's like when you are playing ranked and you just don't know for sure the outcome, like it's one of those things where it's like how much is in your control and how much you just like let
Hmm.
happen and then you're like, well, this is content, Um and so for you, what was because you had talked about the phase house, obviously, and
Yeah.
the content they were creating there, and you had started with YouTube content. What was the was for you said Fortnite was the inspiration to like start streaming. How do you
Hmm.
how do you balance streaming with YouTube with like and then is there like a have you had a preference over time of which you like enjoy more or has it just been you're like all
Hmm.
around the board you're like content creation is awesome.
Well, I'm kind of like content creation is awesome, but
Yeah.
um, I think, oh, how do I balance it? Um,
Yeah.
I think what I used to do is I had 3 set days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time that I would stream. And then every other day of the week would just be dedicated towards making whatever the next video was.
Mm.
But since then, right now, I kind of just stream whenever I feel like it.
Hmm.
And, or like right after I upload a video, I typically don't
Yeah.
have anything to edit because I just haven't recorded the next one yet. So I'll just stream a decent
Yeah.
amount. Um, so that's kind of what I do right now.
Hmm.
But if I had to pick a preference, it probably would be YouTube right
Hmm.
now.
Heard.
Uh, just because that's what I feel like I'm better at.
I hear you. And so, you talked about creating your own thumbnails and editing. And obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you're the material in the video, you and what and Valorant and what you are playing. So for you, I know a lot of people struggle sort of when they're creating content. They're like, oh, I really don't want to edit, I don't like editing, like, but I have all these ideas. I mean, at least from my perspective, it sounds like you sort of have a vision for your video and you want to see that play out. What is it like for you to be the editor, to be the person coming up with the ideas, to be the one filming everything? Like, is that something that you love to do, or is it
Mm-hmm.
like do you like having the control over how your video sort of plays out, or are you like,
Yeah,
this is just something that I need to do because this is my content?
I do really enjoy it. I
Hmm.
think I vividly remember when I was younger, I watched Ali like religiously at his Call of
Yeah.
Duty videos,
Yeah.
and he did a day in the life one time, and he said in the video like the reality of being a YouTuber is you edit a lot more than you actually play the game.
Mm.
And when he said that, I was like, because at the time I was making videos and I didn't really enjoy editing that much,
Yeah.
but that kind of made me realize like, okay, if I really do want to do this, I kind of have
Hmm.
to fall in love with editing, at least until I can pay somebody to do it. But
Yeah.
now I do really enjoy it, and
Yeah.
I am kind of looking to bring on an editor,
Hmm.
but it's one of those things, kind of like you mentioned, where it's kind of hard to give up the control of that to somebody else, especially
Yeah.
when you know exactly how you want it to be done.
Hmm. Definitely, I completely hear you. That is one of those things that I know a lot of when I watch other like artists in other fields talk about the work that they create and their art. Like sometimes they're very territorial of it and they like will not give up you know some of these inner working behind the scenes parts, just because they like to see everything play out. But then there's also a time where it's like in order to keep getting out content, someone else you have to bring someone else on. But that's why I think like in the process of looking for someone like that, it's you know really important that you get to know them, you know what I'm saying, like really see their vision. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why like the process of like hiring these days is like really about like who understands your vision, and like your values and things like that, which play a huge factor into it. And so I want to go back to um, what you said about watching Alie's videos, like the day in the life. What does a day in your life look like?
Okay. Well, I wake up around like 8 or 9 a.m.
Okay.
and I eat breakfast first thing in the morning.
Love.
If I gotta record, then I get ready. I guess I'll describe today because I had to record today.
There you go.
So I got ready. I instantly hopped on Valorant. I'm in the middle of recording a video right now that's taking about a week or so to record,
Oh
of like
wow.
day after day.
Whoa.
So it's the side note, the video has gone horribly wrong. Valorant ranked is rough,
Oh
but it's
no.
it it's gonna make an interesting video because it went
Okay.
like really horribly wrong and then it went really well and now I'm kind
Okay.
of like doing this. So
Coasting a little.
played a few games, and then I went and ate lunch, took my
Mhm.
dogs out.
Oh.
I have two little Chihuahua mixes,
Oh my
and
goodness.
then I ate some lunch
Okay.
and hopped on Discord for the podcast.
Yes. Okay, love it.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, it's I don't even know why I didn't clock that like videos would take like a week to make. Like that's how it
Hmm.
is for like a lot of other YouTubers. Like I don't know why I assumed this would be any different, but like a lot of the times when I see people hopping online to like record, it's like I just assume they'll like do it in like 4 hours or something. But like the fact that it's taking like a
Yeah.
week. And then do
Yeah.
you
This is,
no, keep going, keep going. I have another question.
oh, I was just going to say, not all of my videos take this long.
Okay.
This is just a big challenge
Yeah.
that I didn't expect it would take this long.
Yeah. I
Um,
hear you.
but like those 7 days videos I do, those take
Those
exactly
take
seven
for sure.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still have time to like game outside of recording for YouTube, or have you felt like most of your time is just devoted to content creating?
Yeah. I make sure I have time at night. Like my family kind of gets home around like 5, 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then we eat dinner. And after then is when typically I'll either play more Valorant with some friends or I'll play like a solo game like Red Dead Redemption 2.
There you
Like I
go.
make sure I have time to do stuff in the evening so
Good.
I'm recharged for the
Yeah.
next day.
That's I think I talk about burnout with people a lot, and so I think it's very easy to get burnt out if you don't allow yourself to have that sort of time. So it's like
Hmm.
that's good to hear. And then something I want to talk about because I mean, I was gonna mention it anyway, but I do see that you have a ghost shirt in the back. So you joined Ghost Gaming.
Yes.
Okay, so hello. What's that been like?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's
It's
crazy.
it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be here this soon, but it kind of just I had a few videos do well, and then the
Mhm.
conversation started happening.
Yeah.
But it's a very supportive and welcoming community,
Hmm.
so that's awesome.
Yeah.
All the members, there's a lot of people that are, how do I say it? They are more successful than me in other aspects of content creation,
Hmm.
like streaming, and then some people who can churn out videos. Like I upload once a month,
Yeah.
and some people they like churn out videos and they do very, very well. And it's like I can learn so much from everybody, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
No, that's awesome to have a supportive sort of environment like that, with people
Hmm.
who are in the same spaces as you. Did you was joining an org like something that I mean, you had talked about phase previously, but like,
Hmm.
was joining an org like something that you had kind of always thought about in the future, or was this like
Yeah,
just a surprise?
I'd always kind of thought about it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think back then I really wanted to join Phase, and then I still like watching some of the Phase guys, but I don't know if
Mhm.
I would necessarily fit in with
Yeah.
that right now. So I've tried to find that like home environment, and I think I found it here,
Yeah.
which is cool.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, that was always a goal, one of the
No,
big goals.
that's so cool. I mean, when I first sort of approached this industry, still approaching this industry, like one of the things that, I saw early on was I was watching like VCT was like one of the biggest like reasons why I stepped into the space and, seeing all those orgs, I was like, whoa, like I was like, they don't just have players, they have like content creators too and things like that. Like, and
Hmm.
so esports orgs have always been sort of a staple, I think, in my brain when I look at this industry, and I know that there's issues all around the board with money and stuff like that. But like, I still think esports orgs are one of the coolest parts of of the industry that we have. So it's it's awesome that you feel like you found a supportive group of people, and at least from an outside perspective, it really does seem like you guys have an emphasis on reaching the community, because I think that a lot of orgs have the opportunity to sort of connect with their community and their fans, and and I think Ghost has absolutely done that. We saw it, at the Creator Summit in Atlanta this past
Mm-hmm.
October, which was awesome. um I kind of want to ask if if there's any obstacles that you've faced when it comes to content creation, and just this journey of being in the space, and how you feel like you've been able to overcome that challenge.
Mm-hmm. Let me think. Um, well, for a long time with YouTube
Mm-hmm.
specifically, uh, because I've been making videos, or I have been making videos for, I'm looking at the date, like 9.5 years
Wow.
almost.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I didn't start seeing like success. And when I say success, I mean like success that could lead into this becoming a career.
Yeah.
I didn't start to see that until a year ago with
Mm-hmm.
that tens video.
Yeah.
So 8.5 years in, not seeing a lot of success, it can be kind of frustrating,
Yeah.
especially when I was getting better and better at editing. Like my videos from a year or even 2 years ago were like completely unrecognizable from
Mm-hmm.
9.5 years ago, obviously.
Yeah.
But I still couldn't get past like the 1,000 view mark.
Mm.
And I think from there, it's just how I got past that was, I guess, curiosity and
Mm.
continuing to like research and watch YouTube video after YouTube video on like how to actually succeed on YouTube, or like
Yeah.
what makes a good video,
Absolutely.
and then applying that until it clicks.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Hmm.
I feel like it's like there's two levels to it, because like you're saying, like you were getting better in so many different areas, but then you also weren't seeing growth in others, and that can be really hard to sort of balance, like, oh, I'm learning all these things, but I want them to pay off, like all of the the work and stuff that you're putting in. And so it's awesome, awesome that it is,
Hmm.
at the end of the day. Um and um you would say that you've been creating content for 9 years now, you
Yeah.
said. um how how do you feel like you've adapted to sort of like these changes? Like, do you feel like you've, I mean, because I feel like I've seen YouTube go from being like the platform to like TikTok being something. Like, how do you adapt to like these different apps and social media platforms coming in and like bringing new opportunity? But then if you don't know if one's gonna, if you put your resources into one, it's actually gonna show any growth. Like, how do you sort of navigate what the changing industry looks like?
I think, well, I think YouTube is always going to be around.
Mm,
Like, I think it's one of those pillars, like, it's going to be really hard for another competitor to come in and do what
yeah.
YouTube has done,
Mm-hmm.
especially since they've been around for so long and they've
Yeah.
they've tweaked the platform to be so like curated for creators and the viewers.
Yeah.
Like it's like I go on YouTube and there's at least 3 videos on my homepage that I actually really want to watch.
Yeah.
So they've done a really good job at that.
Yeah.
But so I'm pretty loyal to YouTube, and I also think I know how to make the best performing video on
Mm,
YouTube rather than
yeah.
like TikTok. I enjoy making shorts here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's I try to like make at least one short or one TikTok a week,
Yeah.
and that just kind of keeps the muscle memory of editing and all that kind of stuff going.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, but same thing with like how I learned to make better YouTube videos is if you want to make really good TikToks, just do the research
Mm-hmm.
and see what other people are doing that's working for them and
Yeah.
how you can apply that to whatever niche you want to make content in.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, because you had talked about some, looking back at some of your old videos, like how they're performing. Do you like go back and like watch them and like sort of analyze what you did then and what you are gonna do moving forward, or are you just kind of like do you just kind of like look at the numbers and you're like, here's how I think this went, here's how I think I can make it better, or do you like literally go back and like analyze your own stuff, also while analyzing other people's material?
Sometimes, like, if a video's been out for a couple months now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll go back and watch it and I'll notice I did something that I haven't been doing in the past few videos and I'll
Yeah.
bring it back,
Mm.
whether it's just like certain sound effects or music that I used that I
Yeah.
kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess I don't go back and watch my own videos too much.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hear you. I mean, I have trouble just like watching back anything that I've made. Just
Hmm.
like I know people like don't like sometimes hearing their voice on video and stuff like that. But I hear what you're saying when you've noticed maybe one or two videos to
Yeah.
go back and look at, and taking from that. But do you feel like a lot of this is because to me it seems like with content creation, a lot of it really it's just all about sort of like trial and error, and sort
Hmm.
of seeing it what works and what doesn't. Do you feel like that's a true statement to the industry?
Yes.
Yeah, that's I
Lots
mean
of
like
trial and error.
yeah, that's what it seems like. And especially like you said you've been in this for 9 years, so it's like constantly adapting, constantly changing, constantly trying new things. Do you feel like if you could give your 18-year-old self some advice? 18 is just a random number I picked. Like it could
Yeah.
be 16. I like it doesn't matter. But if you could give your younger self some advice about, what you do now and about, what would you say to your younger self?
Um, I'd probably hmm. See, whenever I've been asked this question, I always think like I like where I am now,
Mhm.
and I would hate to risk changing that.
Mm.
I think even though it took me 9 years to get here, I'm very
Yeah.
happy with where I am, even if
Yeah.
it's not like a million subscribers.
Mhm.
But maybe don't be afraid to try new things
Yeah.
because for so long I did do the same thing.
Mm.
And like if I just kept doing those Valorant meme montages, even
Yeah.
though they were good and people enjoyed them,
Mhm.
if I just never branched out to the challenge videos that I do now,
Yeah.
I would not be where I am right now.
Yeah.
So just don't be afraid to try new styles of content.
Absolutely. No, I love that you said that. That's literally something you basically broke down this like simple concept of like strategy and they like that we taught like I'm literally talking about like strategy in my like college courses right now and like what you just said about like not like this is how you get to that like this is how you get to that next hurdle and you jump in, and that's part of growth. Like that's, that is, jumping that and getting over that hurdle is just a huge part of breaking past that fear and doing what you are comfortable with. I think is so important, especially to
Hmm.
people who are learning to create content right now and sort of up and coming in the industry. And I think that's one of those important things that you're never too old to hear. um, and so I want to thank you again for taking the time to chat with me. It's awesome to learn about
Yeah.
your experiences in content creation and how you feel like you've kind of adapted to the industry and the opportunities that you're finding yourself in um and all of that. So where can people find you on social media to follow and to stay up to date with you and your content?
all my socials are Brinx HQ, like Brinx headquarters. So that's
Yes.
where you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram,
Love it.
all of them.
All across the border consistent. Love it. Well, y'all heard it here. Thank you so much again, Brinks, for being here. Make sure to follow CopeGG on Twitter and YouTube. We have more podcast content coming and frequent updates about what we are up to. So make sure to stay tuned. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.